Yes, my people. Welcome back to my second vlog, my second episode, I guess, of my little vlogging venture. I want to start off by obviously saying a massive thank you for all the kind words, all the support, all the feedback from the first vlog. I didn't expect it to get that much traction, that many views, that many likes, that many comments. I swear, I was hoping for at least 100 maybe views, 10, 15 likes, whatever, and I would have been happy. But completely exceeded my expectations, and most of the feedback was just carry on doing what you're doing. I think everybody kind of enjoys the simple format of me just talking to the camera, being real, being myself, talking to you about my day to day, about my bodybuilding, taking you to train with me, and then just doing a simple wrap up. So I think what I'll do is just kind of stick to that format that I'm kind of comfortable with, and it's not boring, and I guess it's enjoyable for you guys to watch. So today is, what's the date? What's the date today? Today is the 11th of July. We are officially 7 days out from the pro qualifier today. Peak week begins now. Peak week begins today. Funny, because yesterday I was thinking about this. During my first prep, I remember obviously that prep was absolutely gruesome, right? Doing 2 hours of cardio a day, eating close to no food, because that's what was required at the time to get me into shape, right? I remember approaching peak week, right? And this was like Christmas times five. I swear to God, it was like, yeah, finally. I've been waiting for this. I had a whiteboard on my wall where I'll be crossing out the days of how many days I got left of prep. Like absolute idiot, making it so unenjoyable for myself, completely seeing out the time. And yeah, if you want to make your preps absolutely unenjoyable, do exactly that. Count down the days, see them out, and the prep that's a month long will feel like 3 months long, right? So anyway, we're approaching peak week, and I was thinking the usual, right? Peak week. Wow, I'm about to eat 6,000 calories. Bring it here, yeah. 5, 6 rice cakes. That's all I got, bruv. Yeah, I thought I was about to be Jay Cutler sitting there munching away. So if you are in prep, manage your expectations, please. But yeah, peak week is upon us. It's happening. Food has been slightly increased. Again, we're going for a linear load, just like we did for the PCA and the MK Classic. It works really well for me. Slowly increasing carbs throughout the week, get me fuller and fuller. The reason for that is because, firstly, it doesn't take much for me to get full. As you guys seen pictures on Instagram, like me at my flattest is people at their fullest. And that's the honest truth. Like, I don't really look flat when I'm flat. I look flat more through my legs and certain body parts, but like my upper, my shoulders, my chest, my arms are always kind of like full, right? So linear load works very well with me. We can manage how, any water retention, which usually there isn't any, because of the micro increase in carbs, but also things working in the background. But this peak week, we are genuinely utilizing a lot more tools than we did for the any other two shows. And this is where I gotta give props to Christian Chapman, because let's be honest, any other coach that has an athlete who is of the caliber to win overalls and so on and so forth, they wouldn't hold back to try and present a physique at its best at potentially shows that don't really mean much. So what I'm referring to is, for example, the MK Classic. We didn't really use much for that show. We all know what can happen when you start increasing orals. Certain orals will bring out a much drier look. And that's exactly what we're doing this time around. We've basically saved up tools to utilize for the most important show, not jumping on the bandwagon of, oh, let's bring you in at 90% for the MK Classic, because why? Because what does it actually mean? Like, I've won the overall regardless. So if I won the overall regardless at 75%, what difference would it make if I won the overall at 90%. You got to play the smart game and you got to play the long game. You got to understand what's important and what's not. What's not important is, as I said, receiving a pat on the back from social media to say that you were inside out, peak to perfection. The aim is to finish the season with the result that you were hoping for, with the pro card in your hands, and landing the perfect look where it actually matters. So yes, in terms of the peak, certain orals have been increased: Winstrol, Anavar, Proviron, which ultimately is just going to bring a much fuller and better look. And to be honest, I could just run you through what I'm actually using right now. Just bring up my phone. I don't have any secrets, man. I don't really care like that. I know some people might believe me, some people might not believe me. With the amount of dosages that I'm running and have been running. Here goes nothing. Now, before I do this isn't for anybody to copy. Please understand that if you are going to utilize steroids, I advise you to get yourself a coach, get yourself some guidance, somebody who knows what they're doing, so that based off your own blood work, they can formulate a plan where you're not going to dig yourself a hole. They can put you a plan in place that meets your blood work, and you can basically do it in the safest way possible. First compound is Test E. We are running that at 400 milligrams a week. Now, the reason why Test E is so low is because, number one, I've never had to run more, right? I've never had to run more, and my body responds better at low stresses. I've also got a little bit of a gyno situation going on, so we're trying to be logical, just protecting that. It is in my plans to get that removed as soon as I'm done with this prep. That's a priority. Obviously, we're going to reverse out, sort that out, and then I'll be back in the gym. Again, if you don't know, I'd say about 80% of competitors suffer with gyno. It's way more often than not. If you don't suffer from gyno and you can run test really high, then you are genetically blessed. So 400 milligrams of Test E. We're moving into Masteron E. I'm running 800 milligrams. Again, all of these dosages are split throughout the day. So I pin every single day. The reason why I do that is just to avoid any kind of spikes and roller coasters in my hormone levels. And then running into Tren, I'm running 150 milligrams a week. Now, Tren, I've never run over 150. Tren isn't a drug that you should be running during the prep. Like, it's not compulsory. Of course, as we all know, Tren is the strongest and the most effective steroid out there. But also remember, everything has a cost, right? So running Tren, you're going to get the most amount of side effects, right? People fall into the trap of, oh, I'm going to run 400, 500 milligrams of Tren and it's going to be fucking mega because I'm going to grow like a weed. Yeah, bro, you're going to have 400, 500 milligrams of side effects running through your body. You're arguing with your missus every day. You can't stand anyone around you. You're waking up in puddles of sweat. You want to murder your boss, and you've cheated on your missus 4 times. Like, sick, man. Sick trade-off, man. Sounds good, bro. Moving on to orals. Now, Anavar, we've been at 50 milligrams. I was going to say 500, Jesus. We've been at 50 milligrams a day. Now, this week, that's getting increased to 100. So, very interested to see if that brings any kind of... Well, it should, of course, because, you know, Anavar orals are very strong and effective drug. So, as I said, intrigued to see what kind of a change that will make to my physique. Now, Winstrol, we've been running at 50. This week, it's getting increased to 100. Same thing. Winstrol brings more of a dry look, right? That fucking grainy desert look. So very excited to see how that comes into play, especially with, like, to be honest, looking at my pictures now, and obviously you saw me do the round of posing in the morning. I'm obviously in shape. I'm peeled. I'm better than I was at MK Classic, but I am still holding water from the heat wave. Hopefully Winstrol brings out a little bit more dryness. Well, it will. That's what it's designed to do. We are running an AI Arimidex, 1 tab every day. Proviron, now we were running 50 milligrams of Proviron. We are now, this week, running 75 milligrams of Proviron. So a slight increase there. T3, we're running 25 mcg. T4, we're running 100 mcg. L-carnitine, we are running 500 milligrams a day. Now, L-carnitine has been my staple throughout the off-season, throughout prep. I haven't touched that at all. Like, that's just always been working in the background. If you do want a good, reliable source for injectable L-carnitine, go check out Amino Kings. It's all lab tested and it's all on point. Now, I'm sponsored by them. You can use my code BD10. Hand on heart, the reason why I'm telling you about like where to source things and stuff like that is because I want people to use genuine stuff. I've always said, as a bodybuilder, there's nothing worse than trusting something, using it, and realizing that it's not actually what it is. Like, there's just nothing worse than that. Like, I've had a situation before where I'm not going to mention the lab or whatever, I was on TRT, right? So I was pinning 150 milligrams of Test E every 10 days post show. And when I did my blood work, my testosterone reading was at like 1.37. So literally on the floor. And I was wondering, why the fuck do I feel like shit? I feel depressed. I feel sluggish. Moving on to GH. GH, I'm using 8 RUs pre-bed. Now, obviously, GH is a big conversation nowadays with the drought going on. I am still using the 191 GH. What I would suggest, right, before the drought goes completely out of hand, if you do have a little bit of spare cash, bulk buy some GH, 100%. I think you're really gonna save yourself some money in the long run. God forbid, but it might be a situation of primo mast where prices are through the roof again. You know, to remind you, a bottle of Masti 200 milligrams used to be 35, 40 quid. And nowadays you're looking at paying anywhere from 75 to 80 pounds. So, you know, if our GH currently right now for a box on average is about 150 pounds, God forbid we're going to get to a day where a box of GH is 250, 300 pounds, right? Moving on to Telmisartan, that's 40 milligrams a day, just to handle me blood pressure. And metformin now I actually haven't been using. I don't know why. Even in the off season, I don't tend to use it. I just keep forgetting. What else am I using that I haven't mentioned? That's not on my list. Moxie, I'm using is it a MIG? Yeah, it's a MIG a day. I'm using SLU, of course, again from Amino Kings. The reason why I would go for Amino Kings is because Amino Kings have developed a formula that gives you the least amount of pip for the most amount of SLU that you can inject. So you're getting the most out of the least while not getting any pip. One tip that I can give for anybody pinning SLU is intramuscular. Always intramuscular. Don't do sub-Q. It's a recipe for a disaster. It stings like a bitch. It's so painful. Intramuscular with your L-carn, or do it separate. I do mine separate because I'm running 500 mg of L-carn, so I don't have enough space in the pin. Insulin pen, load it up, shoot it, easy, right? If you're not running SLU, you should be. I think it's very beneficial all year round. I think it's got a lot of good benefits. So that is my cycle, and that also is the plan for this week's peak week. Now, again, some dosages are maybe subject to change. Maybe something will get pushed up even more. If it does, I'll update you guys on the vlogs. Yeah, so plan of action for today. We are training back in Ultraflex Derby. Now, since I've moved to Derby, I've really started to enjoy my training again, even being so deep into prep. Yes, energy is in the bin. I feel like shit. I'm tired. I'm depleted. I'm fatigued, so on and so forth. But for me, environment, where I train and what I'm training with, the equipment is super important to me. One thing I would always say is do not shy away from things that motivate you and push you, that might make you not look like a hardcore bodybuilder. If you do have a gym that's local to you, but it's not as good, and you do have a different gym that's maybe half an hour drive, make the effort. Stop being a fucking lazy bastard. Oh, but this gym, 5-minute walk from me. Yeah, but this gym, you're using techno leg extension that feels like shit. Excited for today, excited to train. I got a little bit of extra food. In terms of food, I only got 100 grams of extra carbs today, and that's obviously going to increase day by day leading into the show as my physique fills out. We've got an increase in drugs across the board. Peak week is upon us. We are now peaking for the biggest show of the season for myself. What a time to be alive. We've got 7 days, bring it to an absolute all-time best. I'm excited. I can't wait to see my body change every day. And I'm also very excited to show you guys, bring you guys along. I'm gonna go out, get some steps, get some blood moving. I've still not had my first meal. It is 9:30, so I'll go for like a 45-minute walk. Right, so we are back home again. Went out for a little walk, stroll around the area, and I realized I need to pop into Tesco's to get some bits and bobs. So we popped in, and as always, you know how it is, you pop in to get mushrooms, cherry tomatoes, spring onions, and suddenly your bill's £40 because you thought you needed a new notebook, new Sharpies. Oh, yeah, anyway, I haven't written in a notebook in the last 6 years, but apparently needed a new notebook. Meal number one going down. We've got what we had last time, basically. We've got 6 eggs. No, we haven't got 6 eggs. I wish we fucking had 6 eggs. We've got 3 eggs. We've got 6 bacon medallions. We've got some tomatoes, spring onions, some mushrooms, some light seasoning, and 2 grams of salt, accompanied by 150 grams of sourdough bread. So quite similar to what you saw last time. Now, the most important thing. Well, last time people were taking a piss out of my Monster Choice. Today, we went for Ultra Vice Guava. Okay, bit more exotic, bit more out there. I think this is a bit nicer. To be honest, you see these flavors, they all taste exactly the same, right? Let me know in the comments below what your favorite monster is. I'm actually genuinely intrigued. And there's any monsters that I haven't tried, which I don't think is actually the case, unless it's like one of those ones where you have to go abroad and I tried one in France and it was called banana chocolate raspberry. Like, no, none of those exotic ones that you can't have access to. Just let me know your favorite monster. I'm actually interested. Right, so gonna eat this meal, get this in, finish off the last check-ins that came in later today, do some work, got a few bits and bobs to do, eat my pre, make my pre, which is my pre-workout and my intra-workout, and then we'll head to the gym. Right, it is time to get ready for the gym. I've just had my pre, as the last time, bagel, jam, nothing interesting there, protein shake on top. Let's go through our pre and intra workout, and there's something we also need to address and talk about, which is, yeah, 1 second. Right, so our pre today, just like the other day, 2 servings of glycine, 2 servings of taurine, half a serving of turbo pump, and 10 grams of creatine, 2 grams of salt. This is my staple off-season prep. This is literally my pre. Obviously, in the off-season, I go for a stim pre-workout just to give myself a bit of a push. But as I said, during prep, trying to protect my sleep, I usually have a monster pre-workout for caffeine or turbo inferno just because it's not as heavy. Now for intra, no EAAs today. I've gone in from just the catalyst. We went for the lychee flavor today, which is, I'm a big fan. Let's move this up. No, we don't need this one. Went for the lychee flavor today. You guys know my favorite, my all-time favorite is the OG coconut, but I think I'm running out and I'd much rather just use lychee today. They're all great flavors. That's the thing though, like the OG coconut is just my personal favorite. Like I can drink that for days, but the lychee one is lit and there's a lot more different flavors that I like. But I'm a whole body. Like once I find a flavor that I really like, I'm just going to use it and abuse it until I hate it. So I'm sure there will come a day where I switch the flavors. Watermelon fizz is also a good one. But if you do want to get any of these supplements, head over to engineeredmuscle.co.uk, use my code BD10, for your 10% off. They are doing a lot of different bundles on health subs and so on and so forth. So there's more ways to save money other than just using my code. But yeah, there is something I do want to talk about. Now, in my last vlog, oh my god, this is something else. In my last vlog, right, I showed you guys my intra and my pre-workout drink, right? And my words were, just like today, I'm not really using stim because I'm trying to protect my sleep, right? So when I posted that, somebody watched my vlog and they messaged me. His name's Logan. Big up Logan, right? Messaged me and saying, yo bro, by the way, you see the EAAs that you think you're using? That's actually pre-workout. And I read that message. And you know, my first reaction is like, what's this brother on about? What are you talking about? Right? And he's like, no bro, HR Labs defib is pre-workout. EAA Hydro is the EAAs. I said, there's no way. I said, there's no fucking way, bro. He said, trust me, have a look at the panel. So what I did is I went onto the engineered website, yeah? Riz 1, yeah? I went onto the engineered website. I clicked onto the EAA's section. Defib's there. You look at the description, EAAs. So obviously, when I was making the order, I went onto EAAs. I saw the one that I like. I'm not going to read the little print on what's on the tub. I see fat letters, EAA, description's good. Cool, let me buy that. Let me use that. It's pre-workout. Yeah. So for weeks, I've been drinking pre-workout as my intra, thinking it's EAAs. So, how fucked is that? So I've been trying to protect my sleep, lessen my caffeine throughout the day, being vigilant, right? Being cautious and vigilant about my caffeine intake, just to sit there and sip on 400 milligrams of caffeine during my intra workout. And I'm thinking, why am I pressing 4 plates aside on an incline Cybex press? But yeah, I'm not, genuinely, I'm not happy. I'm not happy. I'm gonna press charge or something. I don't know. Riz, you scrawny little bastard. If you think you're gonna get away with this, you put pre-workout under EAA section. Me being the trustworthy person who does, you know what? I go into the website and I'm like, this is my family. This is engineered muscle. This is my second home. I don't need to double check nothing. Are you crazy? I go into the EA section. What, Cherry Aid? That sounds like a bit of me. Cherry Aid, yes. Please, add to cart. Add to basket. What, you think I'm going to read the little print about pre-work? It's in the EA section. I'm good. This is me. Like, how can I not trust my sponsors? Riz is one of my best friends. There's no way you can let me down. Shock. Sitting there, sipping on 400 milligrams of crack during my workout. And then, time to sleep, 11 p.m. Man's all up, buzzing, crazy. I need some assistance. If anyone's a lawyer, anyone knows any kind of human rights actions, some protests, something. I know where I know where the warehouse is. We can protest. We can stand outside. If you think this is acceptable, Riz, and you think this is gonna just pass away and you're not gonna hold any accountability for this, then wrong. Well, at least I'm not doing that anymore. Well, at least I'm not fucking drinking crack every day during my workout. I can finally just use this in the off season properly. Defib Advanced Pre-Workout Catalyst. And the funny thing is, right? There's two servings here. There's per 10 grams and per 21 grams. And even doing the servings, I remember thinking one time, this is weird. Why have they got half a serving and a full serving? It's EAAs. What are they trying to manage? What are they trying to damage control? I tell you what they're trying to damage control. 400 milligrams of fucking caffeine that's running through my veins. I've still got backup caffeine from weeks ago in my body. My body's just releasing caffeine throughout the time. It's just saying, yeah, bro, you've still got 6 kilograms in here. Crazy work, man. Rizwan, cool. 1-0. 1-0 to you, man. I'll get you back. This is disgusting. But yeah, enough of that. I'm going to head over to the gym. I'm going to set myself up. Today, we have pool. Big pool session going down. It will probably be the last heavy pool session, I believe, before we start kind of backing off and start doing more of pumpy sessions. We're starting the session with a single arm pull down. We're then gonna go into an upper back movement, which I believe will probably be the gym Leco T-bar row, chest supported T-bar row. We're then gonna move on to a chest supported row for lat dominant row. Then we're gonna go into a lat pull down. Now their lat pull down cable, which I believe is Atlantis. Wow, I used it last week for the first time doing the lat pull down with the mag grip. You know, sometimes you get on the lat pull down, right? And I mean just on the cable, and the alignment is just perfect. But there's certain ones that you get on, and it just feels like dog shit. But this Atlantis, is it Atlantis? I think it's the Atlantis cables, is absolutely perfect. So I'm a big fan of that. I do rate lat pull down, just general lat pull down, very, very highly. Mag grip, a wide grip, closed grip. You can't beat it. It's a staple. It's a very basic back exercise that usually when I do it, it completely blows up my back. So yeah, we'll do that. Then we'll finish with some red delts, which is going to be probably face pulls. We're going to take a few post-workout pics, see where the situation's at. Yeah, I'll catch you guys in the gym. Right, so we have arrived at the gym. We're going to start off our pull session with, as I said, a single arm lat pull down. I know I previously said that I find that the hammer strength pull down is probably my most favorite. I take that back. This Nautilus one is most definitely my favorite one. Just the movement pattern is so clean and it hits the lower lat exactly where I'm lacking. If you look at my back double that I'm putting up here now, you can see that there's a lot of kind of thickness across the top back, but I'm really lacking in the lower lat development. I wouldn't say I'm lacking a lot. Like, my back is okay. It's a lot better than it was, but it's definitely something that I need to bring up. Just more lower lat thickness, and I feel like this machine hits it absolutely perfect. So.
Right, so Nautilus single arm pull down's done. That felt really, really, really good. I think for me now, especially being so close to show, it's not about, like you see when it comes to push, it's not really a muscle that I need to really focus to engage. So I can shift some tin around. When it comes to back, I feel like I really need to focus and slow things down to really get some good engagement. And I think that's been a very, very big merit to why my back has come up so much this year, is because I've just kind of locked in when I train back. And sometimes you need to do that when you do have a laggy body part. Sometimes it just requires a little more attention. Sometimes certain body parts you just need to focus a little bit more. You need to try just a little bit harder to really lock in, because it's going to come quite naturally that certain muscle groups you jump on a machine, you do 2-3 reps and you just engage very easily. But you're going to find muscle groups that you don't engage with the same way, which will require a little bit more mental effort. This year I've really learned to enjoy training back, to enjoy, to train back with precision, with accuracy, to really feel the back getting stimulated, feeling the blood getting pumped into the muscle like never before. The results and the tissue that I've piled on this year speak for themselves. So I'm gonna do one more feeder set and then we're gonna jump into our first working set. Right, so chest supported T-bar row ticked off. That felt really good. I really like that T-bar row. I think it's quite heavy. I'll take 4 plates. I really want to see what I can run that up in the off season, but definitely one of the best T-bar rows I've used. Jim Leck will do some very nice stuff. See, the first set, my feet placement was exactly where I wanted to be, but as you can see, I kept on losing the grip at my feet, and my feet were sliding down, which was really putting me off, and I had to readjust in the middle of my set. And I'm the kind of person that, like, when something small like that goes wrong, it really just fucks me off and puts me off. So I think I either need to use different shoes when using that platform, or just kind of use the foot placement that I used in the second set, where I kind of pushed my heels into the second foot placement, the other plate, but I liked my feet a little bit higher up on the pad. Which places my body at a little bit of a different angle, but it's all little minute details that don't really make a difference. But moving on to our chest supported row now, we've opted in for the seated prime row. I've used this machine before, I really like it. I'm not going to stress about the loading profiles, I'm just going to slap everything on the mid peg, potentially put something on the top one. I do like when there's a little bit weight on the top range of the movement. I used it before when I was training in the dock in Northern Ireland, one of the best gyms that I've ever trained at. So shout out Rab, the owner of the gym, the dock. It has a special place in my heart. Northern Ireland does in general. If you are from Northern Ireland, big shout out to you. I do really miss that place. Yeah, let's get on with it. Right, so moving on to our last and final back exercise, lat pull down. We're gonna opt in for the straight bar. Usually I do a mag grip. The straight bar is on. I quite like it. And as I said, this cable here, Atlantis cable, it's so nice. The alignment is perfect, and all you really need to focus on is driving the elbows down, and you hit your back exactly where you want it to hit. I'm gonna do 2 sets here. Then I'm gonna do some rope face pulls. I'm not gonna record that because I'm not setting up the camera just for that. Just some red outs, face pulls, reverse pec deck, whatever you prefer. You can do reverse dumbbell flies. We're gonna then move on to arms. 1 exercise of biceps, 1 exercise of triceps to finish off this session. And then obviously post-workout posing.
Right, so my people, we are back home now. It's been some time since I've been back. I've had my post-workout meal. I've had some time to chill, and I thought, let me jump on here and just wrap this vlog up for today. Today was a good day. First day of peak week ticked off. Today's session was really good. It wasn't draggy at all. To be honest with you, at this point in prep now, I get a little bit anxious about going and training just because I know how much I love training. And when I stop loving training, it makes me a little bit anxious because I'm like, I want to do what I love doing. But you get to a point in prep where you're so depleted, tired, and fucking malnourished that you just simply stop enjoying training. I don't know, the fire was lit today. We went in, every exercise felt really smooth, very nice. And overall, I was really happy with how things went today. Posed after. Now, in terms of the physique, I sent the pictures over to Christian. I'm very happy with how things are looking. And most importantly, I'm more happy with how things are lining up for this week. Obviously, we've done 2 peaks together now. So I've seen, I've been here before. With me, every single prep is different because every single time I do prep, we're basically working with a new physique. I tend to kind of build tissue quite easier than others, I would say. So therefore, we're always working with 7 to 8 kilos of tissue, new tissue every single time. So, the experience that I had last year is completely irrelevant to the experience that I have this year. So, the last 2 peaks really help me kind of see how different this peak is going. I was very, very happy with the condition, with the amount of kind of fullness that I have still. Yes, of course, I'm on the flatter side, and that's exactly where I need to be 7 days out. There's absolutely no point being full now because then you've basically fucked it. As I said, we're linear loading into the show. So therefore, we're just gonna, accumulate that fullness day by day, managing condition very closely. And the one thing I say to Christian always is, it doesn't matter what I see, it's important what you see. So whenever I do send him pictures, most of the time I'm not happy with the look, but in my head, I always tell myself it's irrelevant what my opinion is, because what's important is what his opinion is and what his eyes are seeing, not what my eyes are seeing. Obviously, when I'm looking at my own physique, my perception will always be skewed. I'm always going to think I look a lot worse than I actually do. So yeah, it's exciting to see all of this come together, come to fruition, come to life. And as I said previously, this is exactly what we've been saving up for, this pro qualifier. This is exactly the show that we were peaking for and making sure that I was 100%. The PCA show was obviously just a warm-up. The MK show was a tick box, but at the same time, we wanted to go in and win the overall like we did. And now this pro qualifier is where we're literally going all in, and this is where it matters the most. Man, I can't even believe I'm doing this, I swear. The response that I got on my first vlog, wow. I'm blown away, genuinely. Guys, thank you so much. I will carry on doing this simple format. I think it works really well. This is me. I'm simple. I'm just a bodybuilder. I love what I do. I do this every single day and I love every minute of it. I'm not going to be one of these fancy vloggers who does a madness with the edits and sits there being all philosophical and stuff. I speak what's on my mind. I want to show you guys how I bodybuild. And, it would just make me happy if someone can watch this, hopefully maybe take some inspiration in some sort of way, and perhaps take some things away from this and implement it into their own bodybuilding. But yeah, once again, guys, thank you so much for watching. I love doing this. This is so fun for me. This is obviously a new adventure. I'll carry on delivering to the best of my ability. So thank you for watching. Once again, like, comment, subscribe, and I guess I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.